This is on a topic none of you are going to like called quality and total quality. It's a deep intellectual field. It's a very powerful practice field. It's the biggest movement, social movement in the history of the 20th century and 21st century. It changed how businesses everywhere in the world were done. It has immense intellectual depth. It's amazing in terms of being an anti-culture established by Japanese against a normal Japanese culture to improve Japanese culture. Um, but the Americans killed it with a thing called Six Sigma, which was really an organization of old American consultants who had lost a lot of work in the 1970s and 80s to quality gurus from Japan, hated it, wanted revenge, and they redecorated themselves as if they did quality. And Six Sigma is their way of killing quality. So anybody who does Six Sigma is a fool and doesn't know anything about quality. And they bought into the American consulting community who were displaced by quality and then reorganized themselves to take back the consulting sphere from Japanese quality consultants. Quality did not stop or die in Japan, but it did stop and die in the US due to this counter revolution by the old gurus thrown out by quality people from Japan in the 70s and 80s. So this is sort of anti-Six Sigma, or what non-fools do for quality who didn't freeze into black beltism 20 years ago under the banner of Six Sigma and giving money to dead American organizational consultants redressed as if they did quality. Number one, total quality specifying of software applications. No one in the world except a few Defense Department people under my direction are doing this. And saving my people are saving millions and hundreds of millions doing this. It's a big deal. Every feature of the application has to address a root cause of why something in a customer process causes outputs of that process to displease its customer. That's the constraint. That's all you need. That one constraint is enough to absolutely revolutionize the design of software applications. Number two, total quality specification of venture businesses. This is really cool. This is Steve Jobsism taken to 100-fold, empowered by quality tools. And so you define gaps between what the technology looks like it might do and what it might be made to do should we live with it for 18 months and really investigate its possibilities. It has to do with that patience that Steve Jobs said that very few people know what new technologies that are emerging can be made to do. And this is total quality specifying of that for the invention of new ventures. Number three, doing total quality as doing quality cultural work, where quality was an anti-culture that fixed the three main weaknesses of Japan's culture, installed in Japan by Japanese to correct their own culture and make it grow, and it worked. And you can do the same in your culture, but you have different weaknesses in Japanese culture, so your totalization of quality would be very different than Japanese total quality. Stupidly, everyone in the world having a different management culture than Japan totalized quality in the Japanese way to fix weaknesses that install tactics that fix weaknesses in Japan's management culture that their culture doesn't have or has the opposite of. That's stupid. Now that's Americans for you. Tool generations. The Americans and the Six Sigma idiots stopped at six statistical tools, 7 management tools, and 7 statistical tools of Japanese quality. But the Japanese kept going. After Six Sigma in America, the Japanese evolved to 7 system tools, 7 leadership tools, 7 environment tools, and then right now they're at 7 invention tools, which is where they began using my consulting. So 30 years of progress after the Americans got froze by the Six Sigma counter-revolution. Then evolutionary total quality solving. This is something the Americans never did look at strategically because of the American inability to think strategically. Now, they have Harvard and Yale teaching people to be idiots, and that is never be strategic and be short-term, rip off money from old ladies immediately on Wall Street and then make the government pay. So you have government welfare form of capitalism in America run by right-wing Republicans who pretend not to be government welfare, but they want welfare for corporations, not for people. But in Japan and other parts of the world, you have smarter people who can be strategic. One of the first things that shocks people visiting Holland and Denmark and Japan is how much more strategic the elites are there than they are at Harvard-educated American elites. So what is it you have all these consultants that act like they talk about strategy, Michael Porter, and nobody does it? So being strategic in terms of problem solving means installing a six major problem-solving steps: root problem finding, root cause finding, root solution finding, root implementation finding, effect, impact, and error finding, and reinstalling. And then you have 6 sub-steps that are the same for each of those 6. So 36 fundamentally abstract steps. And then for each of those 36 steps, you have generations of tools: statistical tools, management tools, system tools, leadership tools, environment tools, invention tools. It takes about 4 to 6 years to install and get an entire workforce using a generation of tools. So every 6 years or so, you switch from statistical to management tools, from management to system tools, from system to leadership tools, from leadership to environment tools, from environment to invention tools. And then that means in 6 times 7, 42 years, you've covered all the tools that so far have been developed. Of course, in America, you only have half of those tools because you got the Six Sigma black belt crap instead. Man, well, that's idiot Americans. Meta quality is using quality tools to measure the quality of which you're doing your quality program. It's not hard. It's very commonsensical. No Americans do it. People are doing it in Germany. People are doing it in Japan. Quality chains. This is customer chains, supply chains, technology chains, competitor chains, regulator chains, ecosystem chains. And for each of them, you design and manage their information, their emotion, their insights, their needs, and their capability dimensions. This is taken very seriously in Japanese quality, and I've not found a single article, a book, or tool on it in America since the Six Sigma people took over and torpedoed the American quality thing for the sake of their own greed. Compiling successes, turning events, if they work well, into teams, and turning teams, if they work well, into ongoing processes, and turning processes, if they work well, into ongoing departments and bureaus. In other words, it's sort of like software, firmware, and hardware. If the software works well, then take it one level down in automation to the firmware level. If it works well as firmware, take it one level down to the hardware level of support. So you start with events that work well. If you repeat and they work well, you turn them into ongoing permanent teams that work well. If they work really, really well, you turn them into processes. If they work really well, you turn them into bureaus. Again, an element totally missing from the Six Sigma belt stuff and the apparel shop crap and going on in the other parts of the world. 7 Sigma, the stages and future of quality. The quality of inventing, the quality of thinking, of greening, the quality of globalizing, and the quality of leading. Completely missing in America under the Six Sigma stigma, and going on in Germany and Japan. Global quality selling. There's been so much emphasis on this in Europe and Germany, and just totally missing in America. Not even any books on it anymore. You used to have books on it 30 years ago. Nothing anymore. And this is not commercial selling. This is all the selling we do in our lives. Selling things to ourselves. Selling our kids on why to do homework. Selling our parents. Selling to employees, selling to customers, qualityized here. Total quality methods applied to the selling process. Global quality elite stuff. Taking the Harvard snobby elite stuff like decision making as a little white elite Descartesian pure image of management. Taking that elite snobby stuff, strategy, decision, analysis, all that little cute professor stuff, it's useless for real businesses. Taking that stuff and doing it with quality, and which means finding out that most of it's unreal. Leadership, influence, direction setting. That's the top monkey controls all you lesser monkeys. Taking that kind of totalitarian dictatorial crap in Anglo culture and doing that with quality. And then total quality tools applied to improve these elite snobby American delusions. I don't recommend it, but it's doable, and if you've got a big monkey running your organization, you may be forced into it, and you can do it. Total quality learning, cognition, and creation. Benchmarking, process improving, inside the mind, deep abilities, and between mind cognitive abilities. Cognitive to competitiveness as a goal and a measure of quality. Computational sociology, using workforces as if they were populations of interacting smart agents and computers. Totally new ways to organize people and work. Theories of waste And there are 5 of these in quality if you get beyond the Six Sigma crap. And then each one leads to years of improvement. Just-in-time management and leadership function delivery by competitive means to see which means actually delivers those functions actually best to your actual workforce. Extending totalization beyond quality. Quality is a body of knowledge. It was totalized in 22 ways. It was globalized in 22 ways to create the Japanese phenomena that went around the world defeating 11 industries. What other body of knowledge, if totalized 22 ways and globalized the same 22 ways, would have immense worldwide business effects? That's where the next future is coming.